Let's talk about Priscilla, man.
I want a life of my own.
I did not know when I went into the theater that I was watching a movie about a groomer.
You didn't?
I sort of like knew. I didn't know.
Did you know she was going to be 14 when the movie started?
I knew. Yes, I knew she was young, but I guess I didn't know how heavily the movie would lean into that.
Oh yeah.
So like a groomer, and then subsequently a hostage film.
Yeah.
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 Okay. So that was quite a lot. I'm curious. Let's explain sort of the genesis of the film first of all.
Okay, so I feel like where we have to start is with Baz Luhrmann's
Luhrmann,
Elvis.
Yes.
We are the same, you and I. We are two odd, lonely children reaching for eternity. The greatest show on earth.
That came out 2022.
I wish I had a cape, like a thing,
Yeah.
like a.
Yeah, your Vegas.
Absolutely. My
Suit.
favorite, as determined, my favorite city. Yeah, so Baz Luhrmann's Elvis came out.
Yeah, we're in a moment of turning over the Elvis estate for fresh content.
Sure.
And I do think it is crucial to note that Priscilla and her family, Lisa Marie, R.I.P., Priscilla's granddaughter, Riley Keough, the whole team, whole family team has been involved in getting both of these movies off the ground in some way.
Yes.
And given their stamp of approval, but not in the same way. We'll talk about it.
To contrast, before you continue, I was really curious about the budgets of these films.
Yeah.
Elvis, Baz Luhrmann's film, $85 million. Frankly, for that content, a bargain. Cheap. A bargain. This film, Sophia Coppola's Priscilla, $20 million.
Right.
So if anything you want to know about these films, you can start with that piece of with those pieces of information. That'll tell you a lot right off rip.
I know Sophia Coppola recreated Graceland for hers, I think in Canada.
Recreated.
But the Graceland, I think the Gracelands in both films sort of match.
Yeah,
the living
there's
room.
just sort of it is like the cool. It is the cool gray version of Graceland.
Yes.
In Sophia film.
So Priscilla, which I didn't know, I went in pretty cold to the film.
Yes.
I learned from the opening credits that it is based on Elvis and Me,
A memoir.
Priscilla Presley's memoir from the mid-'80s, about almost a decade after Elvis died. She wrote her tell-all. And we'll get into this, but I actually spent Sunday, the day after I saw the movie, just reading Elvis and Me cover to cover, which I didn't plan to do, but it sucked me in.
A lot of homework. Yeah,
but it didn't feel like homework. It was both deep and upsetting, and also a breeze, which I think matches my experience of this film. I thought it was much more of a straightforward biopic than I was expecting from a Sophia Coppola movie.
Don't things have to happen in a biopic?
Not if you're Priscilla Presley.
And maybe not if you're Sophia Coppola.
Okay, so just as we could talk about the Elvis part, but like, what is your relationship to Sophia Coppola and her films?
Always important to ask.
Yeah.
Virgin Suicides, yes.
Okay. Like at the time or recently?
At the time. Everything at the time.
Okay.
But no Marie Antoinette, no Bling Ring.
You've never seen them?
No, regrettably. And I feel like I would really like, certainly Bling Ring, I feel like I'd probably like.
Which is funny because I would like Bling Ring, but it's my least favorite of her movies.
Oh, interesting.
Because I think I'm attached to the source material.
Sure.
Let's just play the Alexis Nyers clip really quick.
She said I was wearing 6-inch Louboutins to court with my tweed outfit. Nancy Joe, this is Alexis Nyers calling. I'm calling to let you know how disappointed.
Okay, what other ones besides those three?
Lost in Translation?
Yes. I don't like it as much as everybody.
But you've seen it?
Yes.
Somewhere?
Twice. No.
Okay. The recent Apple movie with
No.
Bill Murray?
I was informed of it yesterday.
Doesn't count. to me, we're gonna
canon.
we're gonna get to a point where streaming movies are like mixtapes; they just don't count. And if you don't really want it to count against your legacy, you're like, oh, that was just a streaming movie,
exactly.
like that was a mixtape, like just like whatever.
That was just on Paramount.
If it's a streaming movie and it's fire, like Monster or 56 Nights, then it counts.
What was the CBS streaming service? CBS All Access? Like, nah, that was just CBS All Access. Doesn't count.
Yeah. Okay, so you've seen some Sophia Coppola movies.
And I
but not Marie Antoinette, which is probably the closest parallel
analog.
And part of the reason why I expected this to be a bit more abstract than it was is because of Marie Antoinette.
But it is also part of the reason that this wasn't more abstract is because literally every 45 seconds another year passes in this film.
Sometimes more years in a minute.
Genuinely unbelievable timeline. Like, not unbelievable, but unbelievable timeline. I'm sorry. We just have to, let's just say this.
Go ahead.
I thought the writing was like by ChatGPT. It was unbearably bad. And it only served to be like pure, like most of the time, minimal emotional content, maximum expository content. Just how do we get in and out of this scene? I was stressed. You feel the budget constraints with the number of montages, with the number of tight shots, as opposed to like big atmospheric shots and wide shots or dreamier stuff. You really feel the budget constraints. Lack of sets. Lack of, like, there's not, most things are just like a camera here and like us talking or me talking. I mean, it's like, it's Popcast Deluxe. It's half of it's Popcast Deluxe. Do we get a $20 million budget?
Someday.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's what I'm going to say.
Also, the last thing, sorry.
Go ahead.
Here's the last thing.
Go in. Get it off your chest.
I guarantee the first day this was out, our guy Austin Butler like snuck into a screening somewhere in wherever he is and like walked out and was like, not a stain on me. Like, I'm good.
Okay, Austin Butler, who played Elvis.
Good.
In the Elvis biopic.
Yes.
This Elvis, Jacob Elordi. You're coming out, Butler in a first-round knockout?
It couldn't be more clear.
Oof. This is a crazy take. We can talk about the movie itself.
Crazy. Look, Jacob Elordi, great skin, good hair, one haircut for 95% of the film. Baffling to me. Absolutely baffling to me.
This is not Elordi's fault.
Priscilla had more hairstyles in 3 minutes than he had in 90
You think
minutes.
he decided what his hair looked like in the movie? You can't grade against him based on what the wardrobe department did.
This is what I'm saying. Do you remember earlier, I don't know if it was you or Pat, had the hoodie on the broom there?
Yeah.
That's Jacob Elordi, a broom with a hoodie.
6'5" broom.
A 6'5" broom with a hoodie. That's Jacob Elordi. Sorry, he's not doing work.
Oh my God. I'm going to say I thought Austin Butler was phenomenal as Elvis, especially, let me finish, especially in the performance scenes. The first scene of Butler hip shaking in Baz Luhrmann's Elvis.
Yeah.
When the girls are, it's like the girls are losing their, actually losing their minds, and his mom is like, "Oh my God, like what is everyone's just like, what is happening?" He has like the eyeliner. I think he's wearing like the pink satin.
Killer.
Insane performance, like pure sexual explosion, just like
id boys
killing it, but not Elvis, not quite Elvis. Like. Again, I think we talked about this, or maybe you talked about this on Elvis Popcast Original, where it was like it's more about the memory of Elvis than it is like about Elvis.
It's fine.
Elordi,
it's Baz Luhrmann. That's what a Baz Luhrmann film is.
Okay, this is Euphoria Hive speaking, like one of our great young actors, Elordi. I know you and I, you can't do Euphoria either, which makes sense.
One of our great young Twizzlers. Unbelievable.
He played this down. He played this cool.
What percent of this film was Jacob Elordi awake for? What percent?
He took a lot of sleeping pills,
like,
Elvis. Okay. I thought Elordi was
Butler.
Better than Butler. Better than Butler. He was a human. He was a human. Okay. Butler was good on stage. Elordi's Elvis is never on stage.
You know why you're like the Amazing Race? Because you're tripping. Unbelievable. I literally can't. I can't believe I woke up on a Monday to come here and have you tell me this.
That Jacob Elordi played human Elvis better than Butler did.
Literally every line that Jacob Elordi said could fit on one sheet of paper.
Okay, so here's the other way.
Do you agree, little one?
Is that your impression?
That's my impression of Jacob Elordi.
You know, the one time,
an impression of Austin Butler doing an impression of Elvis.
He underperformed so much. He was so restrained. The one time he really let it rip. Do you know a line I'm gonna say?
I'm gonna be a duddy.
Exactly. Exactly. When he's like, I can't even do it. He's like, you telling me I'm gonna be a daddy?
A duddy.
It was incredible.
There's a great tweet. I gotta find this tweet. Did you see like the Lilo and Stitch tweet? You know what I'm talking about?
Where Jacob Elordi said in an interview that his entire knowledge of Elvis going into making this movie was from watching Lilo and Stitch. It's incredible, but you could feel that.
Austin Butler broke himself to prep for Elvis, all for Jacob Elordi to just watch Lilo and Stitch and eat bacon. What's bacon? I don't know what it is.
Bacon.
Oh, it's just spelled with an M.
It's a typo.
It's a good typo, though.
It's a good typo. Yeah, Elordi said he ate a pound of bacon a day to prep for playing Elvis, which you couldn't tell from his figure.
No, this is the other thing. Okay, there's so many things that I found frustrating about this film. There is no, forgive the phrasing, there is no fat Elvis. There's no fat Elvis, period. And even in the last 10 to 15 minutes of the film where all of a sudden he finally gets a hairstyle.
Yeah.
And also the clothes are no longer like straight hem shirt. First of all, shout out Maison Valentino. Really did kill it with the straight hem shirts.
I mean, the costumes.
I have no notes. I have no notes on the costume.
Just the hairstyle.
Literally, I'm sorry.
What'd you think of the makeup? Was the cat eye to your liking, Elvis?
Black hair and more eye makeup.
I don't know if I like it.
What do you mean you don't know if you like it?
You mean on Priscilla? Yeah, that's makeup is fine. Okay. Her hairstyle is fine.
Okay.
Like I really felt like, okay, when I get on camera.
Sometimes. Yeah.
When I get on camera, sometimes we put a little something in the hair, tighten it up, make sure it's not going to go all over the place. I felt like it was about that much attention to the hair in a $20 million film.
Elordi's
hair. Specific. All the hair budget went to Priscilla.
Okay. As it should be.
No, and which is fine. But like I just if you're looking at him, like 10 years are ostensibly passing, or 9 years are ostensibly passing. No, actually more. He barely changes at all.
Mm-hmm.
I found it, I never quite knew, and I understand like the sort of like ethereality of Sophia Coppola films, like I understand. Like, but I felt like a biopic that has such clear kind of like TikToks of things happening, I never quite knew where I was temporally, but I don't think it was in a like dreamlike way where all things melt together. I think it was like in a, there are not enough plot tent poles to really like orient myself via.